Okay. All right. So sorry about disconnection. I'm back here again. All right. So we are trying to attack the first point, to refute the first point made by the dissenters of online shopping. Okay, so while some people might be thinking that online shopping is unsafe because hacker can, if they have access to your sensitive information, they could do something about that, right? They could use your credit card to buy random items, causing you to owe the credit card company a lot of money. Okay, but um, in sight of, to, you know, but those is what happening in the past. Okay, those kind of things is what happened in the past, and in the past we have to admit that security system was quite weak, and the buyers, they were not so very well educated about the risks of getting their computer system hacked. Okay, so they don't know what these are, how they can avoid. Okay, about hacking or credit card theft. Or not aware of the need antivirus programs. However, the the payment system is more secure than before. For example, a self authentication or one-time password self-authentication or one-time password is required before for online transaction that involve credit card. Okay, And also the buyers. The buyers today are also much more vigilant. They're so much more vigilant and know how to avoid websites or platform that are risky. Next, items received may not look or perform as advertised. Okay, so how do we attack this? Well, in the past, again, buyers only saw images and photos created by the vendor, right? But today, it's not like that. However, the buyers today can review the products, the product they are interested, the products of interest in platform like YouTube. Okay, so they can review the products of their interest in YouTube, for example, where they watch video review or unboxing video, and they'll be able to see if the items that they will order will look exactly the way it is described or the way it looks on the company's website. Okay. However, the buyers can review the products of interest in platforms such as YouTube or from photos and video clips posted by previous buyers. All right, so that's how I refute this point. And last, it may take a long and unpredictable time. Well, this is kind of hard, okay? But I'm gonna try my best and say that without a good and advanced tracking system, it can be challenging. Or it can be challenging for people to keep track. I mean, to know where their orders are and when they can expect their orders. So unlike the system that was in place 10 years ago, where buyers were not able to track their items the shopping systems today offer various method of tracking. Okay. So people know how long they have to wait and act accordingly. Okay. So at least if you know, say you order a part, okay, say you're a mechanic and you order a part from China, all right, and you buy that part from AliExpress, okay. So on the shopping platform, they're going to let you know how long this shipping is going to take. Okay, it's going to be arriving on what date. So at least you can plan your job. Maybe you can tell your customers that, hey, this work is due to finish in a couple of weeks because the item that you order online will take about 1 week and 5 days to arrive. Okay, so that's how you act accordingly. So once you know the information, that it allows you to plan, to like let your other parties know, in this case the customer know, when they can expect their work to be finished. Okay. All right, so this is how I acknowledge and how I would refute. Okay, so these are the this is how I prepare my refutation for my counter the counter arguments. Now, essentially, I mean, I don't even have to think about the pros of online shopping anymore, because if I can refute each of the negative aspects on downsides of online shopping, I turn this into the advantages of online shopping already. For example, because I can argue against the fact that online shopping is unsafe, right? I can argue against this and I can make a claim that it is safe. So I have turned this into online shopping is actually safe. So this could be viewed as an advantage of online shopping even. Okay. So now I have overcome this, right? I have proven this statement false. Online shopping is not unsafe. It is safe. Okay. So this in turn become advantage because I can refute it. Okay. Right. They're giving me a negative and I respond with another negative. So negative add up to negative become a positive. So this is an advantage now. The next one, item received may not look perform as advertised. I have turned that into an advantage now. Okay, so I can go on and say, um, buying things online, you will not be fooled with the images. There's always a way to check what the items will look like, okay, before they get delivered to you. That's a way to check, right? Okay, so you can check to see what the items you order will look like. But if it is being purchased from a platform where no one has ever given any review about, then don't buy it. Because if you do it, you are doing at your own risk. Okay? Always buy from a popular vendor or popular sellers. Okay? Because if the seller is popular, then that means a lot of people have done good business with them. Okay? And they are more likely to post their, experience or images or videos. And you can go check them out for your information to help you make a decision. All right. Last one. Online shopping could take a long time and is also unpredictable. So I have killed this idea. So I can now say online shopping is actually very predictable, okay, because of a good tracking system. All right. So now I'm actually ready to write a paragraph. So we're going to try to write a paragraph just to show an, a confession and refutation. Okay, so in my paragraph, I'm going to organize this into 3 sections. I mean, I will have 3 body paragraphs where each paragraph will focus on different aspects of online shopping. Of course, I'll be focusing on the pros because I like online shopping. But nevertheless, I will remember to point out, what the dissenters think about online shopping. All right, with regard to things like, online shopping being unsafe and so on, what the reason is, and why the reasoning is wrong. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so I will have my a very simple business statement that goes exactly like the given one. So I'm going to say, online shopping is better than offline shopping. That's my main idea. Okay, so for my next paragraph, because I have successfully argued against this, I can now say, to begin with, buying online is quite safe. Okay, but before I explain why it is quite safe, I will try to be a little bit less biased by pointing out why someone might think it is unsafe. So I'm going to start by using a conjunction, while some people are afraid of getting afraid of credit card or exposing their sensitive information to hackers. These are not today threats anymore, right? These are not today threats anymore. Of course, of course. People who bought of course, but who use the service, use the service, use shopping service during the early days the internet. We're running a risk of having their credit card information stolen. Right, of course, those who use online shopping services during the early days of the internet were running a risk of having their credit card information stolen because they were not aware of antivirus and anti-hackers software applications. Right? They were not aware of antivirus and anti-hacker software applications. Moreover, most of the old platforms did not have a secure payment system in place. Okay, most of the old platform didn't have secure payments in place. Okay, so I'm explaining what's happening in the past, right? Okay, but things are different today. However, most of the consumers are well educated. Most of the consumers today are well educated about how to avoid dodgy platforms. And how to use anti-hackers software to keep themselves safe. Okay. On top of that, most of the online shopping platforms have secure payment system in place, such as OTP and self authentication system, which can further minimize their risk of falling victim to hackers. Okay, so this is an example of how you write a rather special paragraph that not only include your justification for your claim, but also a concession. So for most of the paragraphs that we have been taught to write, you would have a topic sentence, and you would have some claim, and you would have justification. This is a little bit more special, okay? Because let's see what we have. So we have a topic sentence, yes. And this is the topic sentence. Buying online is quite safe. So we try to promote online shopping by saying that it is safe. But look at what we have right next to this. This is not a support or a justification. This is called a concession. Okay, all of this. These are all the concessions. Okay, and all these lines are there just to show our reader that we have already considered the opposing view. We're not being biased. We have thought about what they were thinking. And this is what they were thinking. However, we have reasons to believe that their reasons are wrong. Okay, and we explain it here. So we're telling people that all the things that they're scared of used to happen in the past, but they are not happening any longer today, or very hard to happen unless a consumer is very gullible, very very easy to influence, very naive, okay, or very unedited. All right. So all these things used to happen in the past. Why? Because people were not very well versed. They're not very well educated. There's not enough information. and the security system back then was underdeveloped. But today, things have changed. Consumers are much more educated. They have access to social media, and they can learn all these techniques to keep them safe from all the social medias they have been exposed to, be it TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or some YouTubes. So they are very well equipped with knowledge to keep them safe, while navigating the websites. All right. And it's not just the consumers that are educated. The platform, the online shopping platform, they understand how serious those threats are. And they have done their part by improving their payment system to be much more secure, right? To keep hackers from stealing information from their customers. Okay, by using things like a one-time password. So even though you have access to my credit card, right, you cannot use my credit card to do anything because you need my phone to confirm that you are the one responsible for this transaction. So you need to have both my credit card and also my phone if you want to, be successful with your credit card theft. All right, so this is an example. All right, I will leave the rest to you if you're interested. Okay, so there are 2 more paragraphs that we can write, okay, where we turn all this negative into positive. So the next topic sentence would be, item received online will look exactly the same as what they see on image. Okay, and you explain how. All right, or people don't have to worry about what their items will look like once they have arrived, or how well they're going to function when they arrive, because they can always check out some YouTube videos and see how those items look. See how those items perform, what they look like. Okay. All right, now moving on to absolutes. Persuasive writing involves pitting one side against another and showing why one side is superior. When you write in terms of absolutes, especially all or none, you weaken your writing. Okay, so what is this all about? So being absolute is being overconfident. Of course, we live in an imperfect world. Nothing is 100%. So because nothing is 100%, we are not supposed to be using words like all or every or none or no one, unless, of course, we talk about a finite set. Okay, so if you talk about maybe a group of 3 friends, of course, you can use a statement like, okay, none of us like to go out at night. None of us like to play games. You can't, because you talk about a finite set. But if you are making a generalization, okay, like all people don't like to go out at night. All people don't like to play games. This is not a good idea, right? Because there will always be a counterexample. All right, so only use absolute terms like all or none or no one when you have a finite set. Otherwise, use words that are, that are less dogmatic. Okay, so if you look at the table, these are example of words that are less dogmatic. So instead of all, you can say most, or just about all, just about every, then the majority of, or many. Instead of using the word none, you better use a very few, almost none, only a handful, some, or with few exceptions. Okay, so next time when you go and write a paragraph, let's say you make a claim. Let's say, exercise can improve, drinking coffee, okay? Drinking coffee can reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes. Instead of saying everyone who drink coffee will have will be 30% less likely to develop type 2 diabetes. I don't say every, say most, all right? Because there may be, in some case, people, even though you drink coffee, but let's say your eating habit is also very bad, and let's say the coffee that you drink contains a lot of sugar content, then that nutrients, that minerals in the coffee will not, be enough to prevent you from type 2 diabetes. Okay, let's say you drink mocha, with 25% sugar. Of course, at some point, you will run a risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Okay, right. So you don't want to say everyone who drink coffee is less likely. You want to say most people, all right, from a certain study, all right, most people from a study conducted by blah, 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 right, they show that they are less likely to get type 2 diabetes, all right, because of their regular black coffee consumption. And the black coffee consumption keep them from the risk of type 2 because it has minerals such as magnesium and chromium, and those minerals can help the hormone insulin to control the amount of sugar in your blood. All right, so I'd like to finish today's chapter, and let's go back to the pretest. Okay, so question 1, to convince people, all we have to do is state fact. Is that true or not? Nope, it is not true. Stating facts has nothing to do with convincing people. You can always tell the truth, but if your reasoning is poor, or if you fail to follow a valid argument form, then you'll be wasting your effort. Okay, you can always tell the truth, but people are not going to believe you. Being specific is to include as many details as possible. Yes, of course, okay? But don't include details that are not necessary. Details that are very obvious, so don't do that, okay? Number 3, if we know that something is definitely true, although we can't find evidence, we can keep going because it's a common sense. No, definitely not. All right, you can't assume everything to be a common sense. If you can't find evidence, then you have to ask, why can't you find evidence? Is the sample size too big? Is the population too big? Is there any way for you to downsize that population so that you can find some evidence on the internet, on some research paper to back up your claim? Number 4, we could use any source of information as long as it says something that agrees with us. Is that right? No. Okay. False. The source of information or the other has to have some related expertise. Okay. He has to be specializing in the field where your claim is made. Number 5, we should acknowledge counter argument in order to be more persuasive. Is that true? Yes, we should. Number 6, we have to choose only one strategy to convince. We have to choose only one strategy to convince your reader. That's not true. There are many strategies, and if you can't, use them all. Right? Words like all, ever, and none will make arguments strong. Definitely not. Nope. Number 8, the credibility of an expert has to do with his specialty and his experience. Yes, that is so true. Number 9, acknowledging counter argument means we are not confident. Nope. That's definitely false. It's quite the opposite. If you can't acknowledge counter argument, it means that you are brave and you're confident about your standpoint. You are ready to prove someone's wrong. Number 10, the choices of words and structures play an important role in our persuasive strategies. Yes, that's definitely true. Okay, so you have to choose your word wisely. If you use the words that are too broad, okay, it will indicate that you might not be knowledgeable enough about what you're talking about, or will allow for misinterpretation, which is the worst case scenario. You don't want that to happen. Okay, well, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.